My sister stole my fiancé and married him. 10 years later they're both applying to work at the company I built from nothing. Before we dive in, please take a second to subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. It means more than you know. Now let's continue this story. The email notification chimed at 9:47 a.m. on a Tuesday that felt like any other. I was reviewing quarterly reports when my HR director, Marcus, knocked on my glass office door with an expression I'd never seen before, somewhere between shock and concern. "Naomi, you need to see these applications personally," he said, sliding 2 folders across my mahogany desk. My hands trembled as I opened the first file. Jasmine Walker. My baby sister. The woman who hadn't spoken to me in 10 years. Her resume boasted impressive credentials. Marketing director at 3 major firms, awards I'd never known about, a career trajectory that mirrored my own ambition. The professional headshot showed a polished woman I barely recognized, though those eyes, calculating, always wanting what wasn't hers, those hadn't changed. I couldn't breathe. Marcus touched my shoulder. "There's another one. David Mitchell. My ex-fiancé. The man who proposed to me under a sky full of stars, promising forever. His application was for senior project manager. His cover letter mentioned, seeking new opportunities for growth and reconciliation with past professional contacts. The audacity. My company, Nexus Innovations, was something I'd built from absolutely nothing. From sleeping on an air mattress in a studio apartment, from ramen dinners and rejected loan applications, from the ashes of the worst betrayal I'd ever experienced. And now they wanted in. "What do you want me to do?" Marcus asked carefully. I stared at those applications, memories flooding back like a tsunami I'd spent a decade building walls against. My therapist's voice echoed, "Closure isn't something someone gives you, Naomi. It's something you take." "Schedule the interviews," I heard myself say. "Both of them. Same day." Marcus's eyebrows shot up. "Are you sure?" I smiled, cold, calculated, nothing like the naive 24-year-old girl they'd destroyed. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I need you to understand who I was before everything shattered. 10 years ago I was 24, freshly graduated with my MBA, and so stupidly in love it physically hurt. David was my college sweetheart. We'd met during freshman orientation when he'd helped me carry boxes up 4 flights of stairs to my dorm room. "You pack like you're moving in permanently," he joked, sweat dripping down his temples. "I believe in being prepared," I'd responded, already halfway in love with his smile. We built something beautiful over 4 years. He was pre-med, driven and brilliant. I was pursuing business, dreaming of creating something meaningful. We studied together, struggled together, celebrated every small victory like it was the championship win. When he proposed during Christmas break of our senior year, I cried for 3 hours straight. My family adored him. Especially Jasmine. My little sister was 19 then, still finding herself, or so I thought. She'd always been the wild one, the creative soul who couldn't commit to anything. Mom constantly compared us. "Why can't you be more focused like Naomi?" Those comparisons built resentment I was too naive to recognize. Jasmine started joining our dates that spring. "She's lonely," David would say. "Let's include her." I was proud of being the understanding older sister, the one who made space for family. She'd laugh at his jokes, touch his arm casually, ask him for help with her photography projects. "You're so lucky," she'd tell me, eyes wide with something I mistook for admiration. "David's perfect." I'd smile, wrapped in foolish security. "I know. I can't believe he chose me." Looking back, I want to shake that girl. I want to scream at her to pay attention, to see what was happening right in front of her willfully blind eyes. The wedding was set for June, 8 months after graduation. I'd accepted a junior analyst position at a consulting firm, working brutal hours but thrilled to start building my career. David was doing his medical residency, exhausted but passionate. We were young and optimistic, believing love conquered all obstacles. Jasmine had moved into our apartment building, just temporarily, she'd claimed after dropping out of college for the 3rd time. Mom had begged me to help her. "She needs guidance, Naomi. Be the role model." So I helped her find freelance work, let her borrow clothes for interviews, included her in our lives completely. She had keys to our apartment for emergencies. The first crack appeared in March. I came home early from work, a rare occurrence, and found Jasmine sitting on our couch wearing my robe eating takeout with David. They jumped apart when I entered. "Hey baby," David said too brightly. Jasmine was just upset about another job rejection. I ordered Thai food. In my robe. I asked, something cold settling in my stomach. Jasmine laughed, playing innocent. I spilled coffee on my shirt. David said, "You wouldn't mind. You never mind sharing with me, right sis?" Her eyes challenged me. I swallowed the discomfort, hating myself for the suspicion creeping through my thoughts. "Of course not," I lied. David kissed my forehead. "You're the best, Naomi. So understanding." But I started noticing things. Text messages he'd hide. Late nights he'd blame on the hospital. The way Jasmine always seemed to know details about his schedule I hadn't been told. When I'd mention feeling disconnected, he'd gaslight me gently. "You're working too hard, baby. You're stressed. We're fine." I wanted to believe him so desperately that I ignored every screaming instinct. Then came the night that ended everything. April 17th. A date burned into my memory like a brand. I'd been at a work conference 2 hours away, but the keynote speaker canceled. I decided to surprise David. Maybe we'd finally reconnect, rekindle what felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I bought his favorite wine, wore the dress he loved, practiced my smile in the rearview mirror during the drive home. "We just need quality time," I told myself. "We're just stressed." Our apartment was dark except for candlelight flickering from the bedroom. My heart actually lifted. Maybe he'd had the same idea, maybe this was fate. I pushed open the door, wine bottle raised, ready to laugh about our synchronized romantic gesture. Jasmine was in our bed. In my bed. David. They hadn't even heard me come in. I stood frozen, watching my entire life disintegrate. The wine bottle slipped from my hands, shattering against the hardwood floor like my heart was shattering inside my chest. They scrambled apart. Jasmine had the audacity to look annoyed at being interrupted. "Naomi," David started, but I was already backing away. "How long?" My voice didn't sound like mine. "It just happened," he said, the most classic lie ever told. Jasmine wrapped the sheet, my sheets, around herself. "Actually, it's been 6 months. And I'm not sorry. You were always too busy, too focused on your career. David needed someone who actually saw him." The cruelty in her voice unlocked something in me. "Get out. Both of you. Now." "Baby, please." David reached for me. "Don't touch me." I screamed. "Don't ever fucking touch me again." Jasmine stood up, shameless. "This was always going to happen, Naomi. You're cold. Ambitious. You don't know how to love someone properly." "I do." I called my mother from the bathroom floor at 3 a.m., sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. Surely she'd understand. Surely she'd condemn this unforgivable betrayal. "Oh honey," Mom sighed. "I was worried something like this might happen." I stopped crying. "What?" "You've been so consumed with work. Men need attention, Naomi. And Jasmine. She's always been more nurturing, more." "Are you seriously blaming me right now?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I'm not blaming anyone. But these things happen. David and Jasmine clearly have a connection. Maybe this is God's way of showing you weren't meant to be." I ended the call. Called my father. He was more direct. "You're making this dramatic, Naomi. They're in love. What do you want them to do? Be miserable to spare your feelings? Be an adult. Be an adult." As if I was the child for being devastated by betrayal. My brother Marcus, no relation to my current HR director, I just have a thing for that name, was the worst. "Jasmine needs stability. David can provide that. You'll find someone else. You always land on your feet." Not a single person in my family chose me. The wedding invitations had already been sent. I had to call 150 people and explain that there would be no wedding because my fiancé was now with my sister. The humiliation was suffocating. Friends looked at me with pity. Some whispered that I must have done something to push him away. 3 weeks later, Jasmine called. "We're getting married next month. I'd like you to be there. For Mom's sake." You want me at your wedding? I asked numb. It would mean a lot to the family. Show there's no hard feelings. Jasmine, I said slowly. I will never forgive you. Neither of you. You're both dead to me. Don't be so dramatic, she laughed. You'll get over it. I didn't go to their wedding. I didn't answer calls from any family member. I moved across the country 3 days after they sent me an invitation, the ultimate cruelty, and started over with $3,000 in savings and nothing else. Those first months were brutal. I worked 3 jobs, bartending at night, consulting on contracts during the day, building websites on weekends. I slept 4 hours a night, lived on coffee and determination, and refused to let anyone see me break. My only friend during that time was Elena, a regular at the bar where I worked. She was a venture capitalist, sharp as a blade and twice as intimidating. You're too smart to be making minimum wage and tips, she said one night, sliding a business card across the bar. Come pitch me an idea. Any idea? I don't have any ideas, I admitted. I'm just trying to survive. Survival is an idea. What problem do you see that nobody's solving? I thought about it. About how disconnected I'd felt from David because of our schedules. About how many young professionals struggled to maintain relationships while building careers. Communication platforms for busy professionals, I said slowly. Something that integrates with work systems but feels personal. That helps people stay connected without adding to their workload. Elena smiled. Pitch me properly next week. Naomi? Whatever happened that made you run here, use that pain. The best companies are built by people with something to prove. I pitched her 3 weeks later. She invested $50,000 for 20% equity. Nexus Innovations was born in a cramped office space that smelled like old carpet and ambition. The first year we almost failed 6 times. But I was relentless. Every rejection fueled me. Every closed door made me knock harder on the next one. I wasn't building a company. I was building proof that I was worth more than how I'd been discarded. By year 3 we had 15 employees and $2 million in revenue. By year 5, we'd secured a major contract with a Fortune 500 company. By year 7 we'd gone public and I was featured in industry magazines as a disruptive innovator. I dated occasionally, never seriously. I'd built walls so high that intimacy felt impossible. My therapist, Dr. Richardson, was patient. You're not broken, Naomi. You're protecting yourself. But at some point protection becomes a prison. I'm fine, I'd insist. I have my company. I have purpose. Do you have joy? I didn't answer. The truth was, I thought about them constantly. Every success felt hollow because I couldn't share it with the family who'd abandoned me. Every article written about me, I wondered if they'd seen it. If they regretted what they'd done. If they ever thought about me at all. I'd blocked them on everything, but sometimes I'd create fake accounts just to check. Just to see if their marriage had imploded like I'd secretly hoped. It hadn't. Jasmine posted pictures of their perfect life. Vacations I could never have afforded when I was with David, a beautiful house, anniversary celebrations. She'd made her Instagram public as if she wanted me to see. As if she was rubbing it in. David had finished his residency, became a successful cardiologist. They looked happy. That was the part that hurt most. They'd destroyed me and got their happy ending. One night, drunk and alone in my penthouse apartment, I almost called her. Almost asked why. Why had I not been enough? What had I done that was so unforgivable that my own blood would betray me? But I didn't call. Instead I worked harder. Made Nexus bigger, more successful, more impressive. Each achievement was a middle finger to everyone who'd chosen them over me. The morning of the interviews I dressed in my most powerful suit, deep navy, tailored perfectly, armor disguised as business attire. My assistant, Keisha, brought me coffee and concern. You don't have to do this personally, she said. Marcus can handle it. I need to, I replied, applying lipstick with a steady hand. I need to look them in the eyes. Jasmine's interview was scheduled for 10 a.m. I had Marcus lead her to the conference room. The one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, the one that screamed success. I wanted her to see exactly what I'd built without her, without any of them. I made her wait 15 minutes. A petty power play but satisfying. When I walked in, she stood up and for a moment we just stared at each other. 10 years had changed us both. She was still beautiful, but there were lines around her eyes, a hardness to her expression that hadn't been there before. "Naomi," she said, attempting a smile. "You look amazing. Really amazing." I sat down, didn't offer my hand. "Ms. Walker, thank you for your interest in Nexus Innovations. I understand you're applying for the marketing director position. You're really going to do this formally?" She laughed nervously. "We're family." "No," I said coldly. "We're not. We haven't been for 10 years. This is a professional interview. Would you like to continue, or would you prefer to withdraw your application?" Her face flushed. "I'd like to continue." "Excellent. Walk me through your experience with integrated marketing campaigns for tech companies." She fumbled through her answers. Despite her impressive resume, she clearly hadn't expected to actually be interviewed. She'd expected, what? Forgiveness. Automatic acceptance. "Why Nexus?" Finally asked. "Why now?" Jasmine's mask slipped. "Because you've built something incredible. Because I've been following your success and I want to be part of it. Because," she paused, "because maybe it's time we reconciled." Reconciled. I tasted the word. Interesting choice. I gave Jasmine no indication of my decision and sent her on her way. 2 hours later, David Mitchell walked into my conference room. He'd aged well, frustratingly. Gray at his temples, confident stride, expensive watch. He'd done well for himself. I'd made Marcus research both of them thoroughly. Dr. David Mitchell, successful cardiologist, married to Jasmine for 9 years, no children. That last detail had surprised me. We'd always talked about wanting 3 kids. "Naomi," he said, and his voice cracked on my name. Thank you for seeing me." I gestured to the chair. "Mr. Mitchell, your application mentioned project management experience. Walk me through your most challenging project." "Are we really doing this?" he asked. "Can't we just talk?" "This is me talking. In my company. During a professional interview you requested. If you'd like to have a different conversation you can leave." He sat down heavily. "I deserve that. You deserve much worse. But I'm a professional. Your resume, please." He tried multiple times to steer the conversation personal. I shut him down each time with brutal efficiency. Finally he broke. "I'm sorry," he burst out. "God, Naomi, I'm so sorry. What we did was unforgivable. I know that. I've known it every day for 10 years. And yet you married her anyway. Had a whole life. Seemed pretty happy in all those photos." "You looked at our photos?" I cursed myself for revealing that. "I did my research. Due diligence for potential employees." "Naomi, please. I need to explain." "No," I cut him off. "You don't get to explain. You don't get to make yourself feel better by confessing. You had 10 years to reach out, to apologize. You chose not to. Now you only care because you want something from me." His eyes filled with tears. "That's not true. I've wanted to reach out so many times." "Then why didn't you?" I demanded, my composure cracking. "Why did you let me think I meant nothing? That I was so forgettable you could just replace me with my own sister?" David wiped his eyes. "Because Jasmine said you hated us. That you'd moved on and were thriving. She showed me your social media, all your success. She said reaching out would just reopen wounds you'd healed." "She lied," I said simply. "I had them all blocked. Whatever she showed you was fabricated or curated to keep you from feeling guilty." He looked stricken. "What? Why are you really here, David?" "The truth." He slumped in his chair and suddenly I saw it. The exhaustion, the unhappiness, the cracks in the perfect facade. "We need the jobs," he admitted. "I made some bad investments. Lost a lot of money. Jasmine hasn't been able to hold a position for more than a year. She gets bored or makes enemies or just stops showing up. We're about to lose our house. I saw Nexus was hiring and she insisted we both apply. She said," he laughed bitterly, "she said you'd probably be thrilled to see us, that you'd help family." "Family," I repeated. "After 10 years of silence, you thought I'd consider you family?" I told her it was insane. But Jasmine, she's not the person you remember, Naomi. The marriage has been. He stopped himself. Has been what? Nothing. I shouldn't have said anything. But I saw it in his eyes. Regret. Misery. The realization that he'd traded real love for infatuation and now he was trapped. You're not happy, I said. It wasn't a question. Are you? He countered. The question hit harder than I expected. Was I happy? I had everything I'd worked for, everything I'd dreamed of. But I was alone. Always alone. That's none of your business, I said finally. I didn't make a decision that day. I told Marcus to keep them waiting, to let them stew in uncertainty for a week. But I couldn't stop thinking about David's words, about the cracks in their perfect marriage. Against my better judgment, I had a private investigator compile a report. What he found was illuminating. Jasmine had been fired from her last 3 jobs, 2 for interpersonal conflicts with colleagues, and 1 for misuse of company resources. David had lost nearly $500,000 in a cryptocurrency scam. They'd refinanced their house twice. They were drowning. And they'd come to me for a life raft. On day 6, Jasmine showed up at my office unannounced. Security tried to stop her, but I'd been curious about when she'd break. Let her up, I told them. She burst into my office, makeup smudged, designer bag clutched like a shield. You can't do this, she said without preamble. You can't just torture us with waiting. I'm conducting a thorough hiring process. For 2 senior positions. It takes time. Bullshit. She slammed her hands on my desk. This is revenge. You want to watch us suffer. I leaned back in my chair, calm. Why would I want revenge, Jasmine? You said yourself 10 years ago that this was always going to happen. That I was cold and unlovable and David needed someone who could actually care for him. Seems like you got everything you wanted. She flinched. I didn't mean those things. Yes, you did. You meant every word. And you know what? You were probably right. I was ambitious and driven, and maybe I didn't give David enough attention. But that didn't give you the right to betray me. That didn't give our family the right to choose you. Our family. Jasmine's laugh was harsh. You cut them off, Naomi. You disappeared. Mom cried for months. Mom told me I deserved what happened. Dad said I was being dramatic. Marcus, our brother, said your happiness mattered more than mine. So I left. And I built something without any of you. I need this job, Jasmine whispered, collapsing into a chair. We need these jobs. We're going to lose everything, Naomi. Please. This was what I'd wanted, wasn't it? To see them desperate. To have them need me. To finally have the power in the relationship. So why did it feel so hollow? Where's David? I asked. In the car. He didn't want me to come, but I had to try. I had to make you understand. Understand what? That you're sorry? That you regret it? Which part do you regret, Jasmine? Sleeping with my fiancé or marrying him or choosing him for 10 years? Or do you just regret that your perfect life turned out to be not so perfect after all? She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. All of it. I regret all of it. I was jealous and stupid and cruel. You were always the successful one, the smart one, the one everyone admired. And David looked at you like you hung the moon. I wanted someone to look at me that way. So you took him. So I took him, she admitted. And you know what? He never looked at me like that. Not once in 10 years. He looks at me like he's settling. Like he's making the best of a mistake. The confession should have felt victorious. Instead it just felt sad. I can't help you, I said quietly. Not because I'm cruel, but because you both hurt me in a way I've never recovered from. Working here, seeing you every day, I can't do that to myself. But you brought us in for interviews. I know. I thought I wanted closure. I thought confronting you both would somehow heal something in me. But all it's done is remind me of how much I've lost. Not just you, not just David, but my entire family. My belief that people who love me won't destroy me. Jasmine stood up. I understand. I don't have the right to ask for your forgiveness. No, I agreed. You don't. She walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I see now what I couldn't see then. You deserved better. From all of us. I sat in my office for hours after Jasmine left, staring at those 2 applications. Marcus came in as the sun was setting, painting my corner office in shades of orange and gold. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "I don't know," I admitted. Part of me wants to hire them just to watch them squirm every day. Part of me wants to reject them and feel that moment of power. And a small part of me wonders if working together might finally give us all closure. What does your gut say? My gut said I was tired. Tired of carrying this anger, this hurt, this gaping wound that 10 years and all my success hadn't managed to heal. I drafted 2 rejection emails. Professional, courteous, final. My finger hovered over the send button. Then I thought about Dr. Richardson's words. Closure isn't something someone gives you, Naomi. It's something you take. I'd spent 10 years building walls, achieving success, proving my worth to people who'd never asked for proof. I'd become exactly what Jasmine had accused me of being, cold, distant, unreachable. But was that who I wanted to be forever? I picked up my phone and called my mother for the first time in a decade. She answered on the first ring. "Naomi." Her voice cracked. "Is that really you?" "Hi, Mom. I need to tell you something. What you all did to me, what you all chose, it destroyed me. And I don't know if I can ever forgive any of you. But I'm tired of running from it. I'm tired of pretending I don't have a family." She sobbed openly. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." We talked for 3 hours. It didn't fix anything. Some things can't be fixed. But it was a start. I sent the rejection emails to both Jasmine and David. But I included something else. The name and number of a good financial counselor, resources for marriage therapy, and a check for $20,000 with a note. "This isn't forgiveness. This is me choosing to stop letting what you did define me. Use this to get back on your feet, then never contact me again." Did they deserve my help? No. But I deserved to be the kind of person who could extend mercy even to those who'd shown me none. Not for them, for me. Some might call me weak for that. For not crushing them when I had the chance. But I'd learned something building Nexus from nothing. Real power isn't about domination. It's about choice. And I chose not to become the villain in my own story. I still run my company. I'm still successful, still mostly alone. The walls are still there. Maybe they always will be. But occasionally I let someone in. I'm dating someone now, carefully, terrified but trying. Jasmine and David divorced 2 years after I sent that check. She moved back home to our parents. He remarried someone he met in therapy. We don't speak, probably never will. But I don't check their social media anymore. I don't wonder what they're doing. I built my empire from ashes, and that's what I'm most proud of. Not the company's value or the industry awards, but the fact that I survived. That I chose not to let betrayal turn me into something ugly. Some days I'm angry all over again. Some days I wish I'd made them suffer more. But most days I'm just tired of carrying this weight. So I'm setting it down. Not forgiveness, I don't owe them that. But release. For me. Because the best revenge isn't making them miserable. It's refusing to let them make me miserable anymore. And that's the real victory. If this story touched you, please subscribe and share your own experiences in the comments. Remember, healing isn't linear and you're allowed to protect your peace even from family. Thank you for watching.